All right, so I got a couple things I got to get out of the way, and one is cleaning up and replacing these drum brakes. And if anybody's done drum brakes, I'm sure probably anybody watching this channel has tried them. They're not really a lot of fun to change out. Disc brakes are really easy. These drums are a pain. And I'll tell you the one thing I've learned over the years is one side at a time. So you always got the other side as a reference. So I'm going to go ahead and pop these brake shoes off, and I want to get this all cleaned up, get it wire wheeled down, degreased, and then primed and painted. And then I want to reassemble the new brakes and the new springs, the new brake shoes, and then the new springs and stuff that I got from Summit. I got all that stuff laid out right here. All right, and just to show you this in a little bit more detail, there's the new shoes, there's the new wheel cylinders, and that's the rebuild kit. Again, I got that from Summit. I went over these parts and part numbers in my prior parts video for the rear end. And that's the drum. And actually the shoes are not really in that bad a shape, but I had already ordered them before I really took the drums off. I just assumed they needed to be changed, so I'm going to go ahead and change them out. And isn't that cool? You can see all the way through the other side. I don't know why I think that's cool, but I do. I think that's cool. So I'm going to get these, like I said, all these springs off, wheel cylinders changed out, get this surface cleaned up. I'll have to plug that hole up with tape or something, or a rag. So I'm going to get started, and let's get these things done and out of the way. All right, so that came apart reasonably easy, and they usually do. The trick is, as always, getting them back together, but shouldn't be too bad. I'm going to get this wire wheeled, cleaned up, and painted, and then I'll be back to put the new hardware on. So kind of a fast wire wheel job there, but hey, this is the inside of a brake backing plate that no one's ever going to see, and it's going to get dusty as soon as you, and dirty as soon as you hit the brakes in the car. So I'm not too worried about it. I did go ahead and hit it with some of this. This is the Easy Off heavy duty cleaner degreaser, and if you can see that, this Easy Off stuff is great for removing heavy grease. And if you follow along on the channel, you saw me do this with the subframe, and then also the entire rear axle that you see here. Used a pressure washer in those situations, but this stuff works great even without a pressure washer. It'll take all that grease and grime off there, and once I get it cleaned up, I'll hit it with some Pour 15 metal prep, shoot it with some primer. All right, so there it is, cleaned up and primed, and it looks, you know, it's not that much work to make it look a little bit better, and hey, no one's ever going to see it, but you know it's done, and it's done right. In this case, I would say mostly right. I did a pretty quick job, but it turned out okay. So one of the things that I don't like about drum brakes is the rebuild kits, and the rebuild kits don't give you all brand new parts. They give you some brand new parts, but they don't give you everything, and I've never really understood that. But anyways, you've got to reuse some of your old parts, and one of the little tricks that I use here is I take some of this oil eater cleaner degreaser, put it in an old Gatorade jug, put the parts in, and look at there. You got a very, very inexpensive parts washer. Just, I put a big X on it so I don't drink it, because not really looking like Gatorade, maybe grape. But yeah, you can shake these up, and it's actually really does a good job. So I'm going to let those things sit in there, because those are some of the parts that, again, I have to reuse with this kit. And then I will get, actually, I'm going to paint that black first, and then I will get this side put back together. All right, not to come back to this, but I wanted to show you guys this, because you can reuse this, because all you do is take one of these magnets, and you can just start fishing your parts out. Of course, I say that, and then it doesn't work. There you go. Pretty cool, huh? And then you can reuse your cleaner degreaser. That stuff's about 10 bucks a jug for a gallon jug, and it can do more than one application like this, so keep it around. Don't waste it. All right, so I've got one drum done. I've got one side done of the brakes. I didn't film that. There's a lot of good videos out there on how to change these drum brakes, but wanted to show you the before and after. So here's the before. All right, so this is the new side, the completed drum brake side. and what a difference. And just new parts, new springs, new shoes, new wheel cylinders, and not super expensive to rebuild these brakes. And it'll give me a lot more confidence knowing that everything's done and done right.
It's that time of the year.
All right, so we are getting ready to, and I didn't get done as much as I wanted to. I said I was going to put in the, I said I was going to put in the seals and the axle tube bearings and press these in. I didn't get that done. I did get the brakes in, as you guys saw in the video. And now we're here. While I've got Matt here, we're going to try to set up this rear end. So he's latexed up and ready to go. So the first thing we're going to do, I think, is work on this Spartan locker. And that's the kit there. I put everything in Ziploc bags just because I was doing the brakes and spray painting the backing plates and stuff. And then, so I think the first thing we need to do, and correct me if I'm not right here, is we got to get this bearing off, the bottom bearing, and then this ring off, correct?
Yep.
Because
look at the size of that pinion gear.
Let's compare them.
So that is the ridiculous
241, right?
Yeah.
And let's look at the, bring that one over here.
It's heavy, it's so big.
I know. That's a 241 versus a 410. And that thing is, what a difference.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank God we're getting rid of the 241 to 1 or 251, whatever it was. It was really bad. So, all right.
Hey, we love those.
What's that? Oh, yeah, my broken...
How many people want to meet the GM engineer in a dark alley that designed that?
Yeah, I would.
And stab him in the neck with that.
Yeah, that's my broken pinion shaft bolt. So we're going to get into it, right?
Yeah, and I hate the way gear oil smells.
You hate the way gear oil smells.
The only thing worse than gear oil is burnt gear oil.
Burnt gear oil. All right.
All right, let's do it.
All right. So this is 3/4 inch, and these are reverse threads, is my understanding. I'm about to find out. Reverse threads.
Confirmed.
All right, one ring gear removed.
One very large, low performance ring gear removed.
Hey.
Gotta love California. That's where this car's from.
Well, one way to get it off. Oh, okay, good. She's coming off. All right. Well, that's one way to get them off without a bearing press. I don't know if that was the best way to do it, but it's off. And it did come apart. But that's okay. We're not going to reuse it. All right, so there's what's left of the bearing. And now we're just kind of cleaning this up a little bit.
That's a nice file.
Yeah,
That's a really nice file.
it's a Nicholson file. All right, so now that we got those bearings off and the carrier, or the ring off, and we've cleaned this carrier, we've cleaned all these parts, we're going to put this Spartan locker in. And the first thing we're going to do is put these spacers. What are they called?
Locking pin?
Locking pins. And you're going to put these springs in each one. And there's 4 of these. So you get them set up to look like that.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know how well this will show up on the camera, but we've oriented our 2 pieces just like it is in the picture. And then you take your spring and the other piece, what's it called again? This is the
locking pin.
the locking pin. You're going to put them spring down. Oh. Kind of hard to do one-handed because I got my camera in the other hand. So it looks like that. And you're going to put all 4 of these in there. All right, that's that step done. All right, so the next thing you're going to do is push down on that and see how this thing's got a groove right there. This alignment pin goes into this hole, just like that, not very far, and it will hold that pressed down. So instead of it being up like this, once you put this pin in there, it holds it down. It's not quite flush, but it holds it down. Real easy to do so far. All right, so we're going to pause here with the Spartan locker because we really have to have the axle shafts installed to complete the installation and pull these alignment pins out. And we can't put the axle shafts in yet because we're just not at that stage. But real quick, here's how this thing goes together. So you've got 2 of these pieces, and that accepts your axle shaft. So these go in on either side of the carrier like that. And I can't hold this, but then you've got this intermediate piece, and you've got 2 of those. And the trick is, and you can see this piece right here and your C-clip, that will hold your C-clip in there perfectly. So this piece goes in the opposite way of what you would kind of think, and then this is going to sandwich up against this in the side of the housing, and that's one side. And then you've essentially got to do the same
thing, the slot where the C-clip.
Oh yeah, so the question we had was, how do you get your C-clip in? And it's through that slot right there. Yeah, right there. And you can't, it doesn't look like they're going to fit, but they actually pull apart a little bit when it's all put together, and you can push this apart and slide that thing in. You're going to have to probably use a magnet, finagle your axle shaft in, because this piece will also be in your way. And then once you get the C-clip over the axle shaft, you pull it back out, and then it locks in like that. And then you've got enough space here where this now will fit to that. And see, it does not look like you have enough room right there, but this thing has a little bit of play in it. It won't go in like that. It's got to separate a little bit, and it will once you put it in.
And I think that's going to be a...
I think it's going to be a pain too.
Yeah.
And then once you get that in...
Because of that thing.
Then you have to move these things around. Once you get your 2 axle shafts in, you have to move these things around to where these line up on each side. These 2 pieces line up with this one, so your axle pin can go in, and then you've got to align all that. Once you do that, then you can pull these out, right? Then you pull these out, and these will pop everything into place and hold it tight.
I think you pull these before you put the cross shaft in.
Oh, once you get your C-clips in, then you pull these.
Yeah.
Then you've got to finagle these 2 things so that's where they line up like this, so you can get your pinion shaft in there. And I know that's not a very good explanation, but that's essentially how it works. And we're going to just wait.
We're going to stop for tonight.
Yeah, we're going to wait because we're just not there yet. We don't have our axle shafts ready. We got to press the bearings in the back here and the seal. We've got to get some races and stuff pressed on here. We've got other bearings to press on. So I think this is a good stopping point for us. So we'll be back. All right, so what we're going to do is...
we're off to the races.
No. So the Spartan locker kind of stalled us a little bit, but we're going to get some races installed. And so what we're going to do is we're going to put this one in, this big one, and it goes right there. And I'll tell you what I'm going to use to hit it in is I'm going to use this bearing race and seal driver kit. And this is made by ABN, and honestly, this is a really cheap kit on Amazon, but I've used it quite a few times, and it's worth $1 million bucks. So we're going to use it to hit that in.
So John's going to show you how to put a round piece in a round hole.
That's kind of scary.
Yeah, they're a pain in the ass to get started.
All right, so I didn't do a very good job. Well, I didn't film it at all, but essentially what I had to do, and you can see how this thing's kind of marred up, is I kind of had to walk it around like this, around the edges. And this is aluminum, so this is going to give before that race will. And I just kind of walked it around like this until I got it pretty close, and then I could put it over here. But then eventually it kind of bottoms out, and the axle housing is kind of it's a little bit recessed into the axle housing, but that's exactly where you want it to be. And I heard the sound change. The sound of when I was hitting it changed, and you could just kind of tell it was bottomed out. So successful install, although this one's kind of a pain. All right, so we got the axle housing kind of inverted a little bit here, but this is the outer bearing, or I'm sorry, outer race, and that goes in there. And I've got one of these that actually fits this one perfectly, and now we're going to drive that one in. All right, so we got that race put in, and this one went in a little bit crooked, and it's better to either knock it back out or correct it before it gets too far off, because they will not go in easy if they're crooked. So better to straighten it up, get it straight, and then it went right in, no problems at all, and it's seated up against the lip in there, and it definitely made a different sound, and so I think we're good to go with that one. All right, now we're going to get this carrier bearing pressed on. And it's actually, just by getting it close, or getting it started, pretty much almost got it on. And I think we're doing the bottom one as we do the top one. I can feel that one going down. And I think we're good. All right, so we got both of these bearings pressed on the carrier, and you got to make sure those things bottom out. Done. All right, now that we've got the carrier bearings on, now we're going to mount the ring gear. Nice. I'm going lefty, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think I got it started a little. Reverse threads are so weird.
It defies logic.
It does. That one's not working. So we're going to put these in and then tighten them up crisscross.
Yeah.
Because to draw that up, what we want to do is close that gap right there. You know the torque specs?
No, I don't.
All right, we'll have to look those up. But we'll get them cinched up and torqued up.
Crisscross with an impact.
Crisscross with an impact.
No, we'll torque them.
We'll torque them. All right, so I'm going to stop the video there because it's getting kind of long, and we did not accomplish as much as we wanted to. And particularly this carrier, we didn't think about this until after, of course, after we pressed on the bearings and the ring and bolted the ring on. But this carrier is not designed for a 410 gear, and we had to find, which I found on eBay, and I bought a 273 and up carrier. So the bearings that we pressed on to this carrier, we now have to take off, which shouldn't be a problem. I've got a bearing press kit that I bought, and we've got to get this ring gear off of here and then put all this onto the new carrier that's being shipped here, and then we'll get back on track. So I really thought that we would get all this done and get this whole rear axle put back together, the ring and pinion gear set in one kind of session, one evening, but obviously not going to work that way, and it typically doesn't work that way for me. So here's where we are. In the next video, I'll do like a part 1 and part 2. Part 2, we will get this thing put back together, get this carrier swapped out, and get the ring and pinion gear set, and button up this rear end. All right, really appreciate you guys tuning in, checking out the video. Thank you for your support, and as always, thanks for watching.